Uganda has a total 35 certified seed companies supplying close to 18,000 metric tons of quality seed. According to a research at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, this seed supply is only 30% of the required quality seed to boost agriculture in Uganda, leaving many farmers exploited with fake seed dealers. Upon these gaps, the Embassy of the Royal Kingdom of the Netherlands in Uganda is facilitating the development of local seed banks of highly valuable seeds through the Integrated Seed Sector Development Project ISSD project. The Integrated Seed Sector Development Project has set up demonstration gardens for high-valued superior quality vegetable gardens at the National Farmers Leadership Center, Kampiringisa. How a farmer can invest in tomato and earn more. The choice of a tomato cultivar is based on fruit quality, adaptability and reliability, susceptibility to diseases and pests. Tomatoes give good results when grown in well-managed sandy loams and heavy clay loam free of hard pern. Best results are obtained in deep, well-drained loams. The soil should be rich in organic matter and plant nutrients with a pH value of 6 to 7, as Bionabi Alex narrates.
When you want to grow a tomato, like when you are going to do home garden, like in urban agriculture, first of all, the most thing you have to look at is getting a very good variety. A good variety is the one that is high yielding, that is able to give you much yield compared to the space you are using. A variety that is resistant to diseases, or it is a bit tolerant. A variety that can yield quickly within a short period of time. You can be able to harvest. After getting a good variety, from there you'll be able to know the kind of chemicals you want to buy. You should be able to know. You make a program so that you cannot rush and then crash. You have to make a plan. You'll be able to know that I need this kind of a chemical, I need this kind of pesticide, which I have to use. Then you have to make sure that the seed you have selected is also accessible in your area of locality, because you may get a seed which you will never see again. So it is better to deal with good companies which can be able to supply you that very seed. You'll be able to know that you can get that seed at the time you want it. For the case of a home garden, you don't need too much to raise money, because you have a small space. They say we have here ridges of 8 meters squared. That is a small space, but it can fit about 20 plants of a tomato. And you find that a plant of a tomato, like this variety we put here, is called Anya F1. This variety can be able to give you about 20 kilograms of tomatoes per plant. That is approximately 150 fruits per plant. And because it's the way it yields, it starts from the lower areas. After 2 months of transplanting, the first clusters come. When the clusters come, you start harvesting from the lower areas, and as you go up, it is a tall variety which you must put stands for, what we call staking. You'll be able to stake it so it can go upper, and the more it goes upper, the more it gives you more fruits. So it can, each cluster contains about between 5 to 7 fruits per cluster, and per plant, through the whole shelf life or through the whole season, it can put about between 15 and 20 clusters. So when you multiply that one, you'll be able to get between 150 to 200 fruits. So in that case, you can see a farmer who planted another variety which is a bit inferior, or which he or she feels that it is cheaper to buy in the shop. You will find that someone who used this small space with a good variety can as well harvest very much yield compared to someone who may be planted even a quarter acre of another variety. So that is the most thing which is important with this variety.
Over 70% of Ugandan farmers cannot access good quality seed for agriculture development. Indeed, these go for locally served seed, while many fall trap of fake seed dealers.
The best seed must be able to resist diseases. And when you are working for business, you are growing crops as a business, not like joking. You want to put business into it, you must get a variety which is resistant, so that from the start you'll be able to minimize the costs of production. Because even if you don't have like direct market, by the end of it all, you'll find yourself selling with people who planted anyhow or who planted other varieties. But for you, because you have a variety which is resistant, you will find resistant to diseases and pests. You find that you are able to put less chemicals compared to someone who is doing what? Who is doing another variety. For example, you may have a variety which is susceptible to maybe to mist. When the mist period comes, the variety gets sick and you find the whole garden is wiped off. But when you are using this variety, you will be able to spray at least once in a week, and the other farmer will spray thrice in a week. So by that difference of spraying, the cost will be increasing. The same applies to the pesticides, to the fertilizers and others. So there, after having done your production with the best variety, first of all you will lower your cost of production and will be able to go in the market with your low cost of production and get higher profits. That's the best thing with it in terms of business.
However, what affects the growth of this beautiful fruit tomato?
The pests which we have, which usually destroy our tomatoes, we have the pest called shrimps, then we have aphids and the tuta absoluta. Those are the main pests which usually destroy our tomatoes and which can make an economic loss. Then the diseases, the most important diseases in tomato, we have the blights. The blights which we have the red blight and the red blight, and we have also wilt, where we have the bacterial wilt and the fusarium wilt. Those are two main diseases with their two components are able to destroy your garden if you have not taken a good precaution. About the cost, like let's say you are going to apply once in this small bed, you can use like 50 grams of, let's say, mancozeb when you are preventing. So 50 grams can take up to let's say 1,000 shillings. So when you include the labor, include the water and whatever, you find like per application. This is just like an example. Per application, let's say you are putting like 3,000 per application, just small ridge. That is 3,000. So it means times 3 in a week. That is 9,000. And the farmer who uses the good variety will use only 3,000. So that is a difference of 6,000. That one will be converted maybe to fertilizer or maybe converted to another challenge which you may be facing. And in the final yield, you will be in the market and will be able to beat someone who applied too much compared to you who now you have already settled your 6,000 aside. So that is the best difference that is there. Yeah, this one ridge. This is 1 meter here and it goes to up to 8 meters. That is why I'm saying it is 8 meters squared. The bacterial wilt is a challenging disease. It tends to be stubborn. When it has been in your soil, you don't get a chemical that can simply wipe it off. So what you have to do, you have to get a resistant variety. There are resistant varieties which are resistant to that very bacteria. Then the blights, you have to make sure that you control, you prevent before the blight enters. Especially the area blight, that one it can enter and you'll be able to use the chemicals and be able to control it. But red blight, you can, once it has gone into your garden, it means it is going to wipe off the garden. Even if you try to use chemicals and whatever, but the economic loss will be already there. The means of entering these diseases usually goes with the weather and the environment. there's what we call the disease cycle. The disease cycle includes the pest itself or the pathogen. It also includes the environment and the host itself. Now the host in this place is the plant we are having. The environment is where the plant is, and the pathogen is the cause of the disease. So once you have a resistant variety, it means now you have broken up the disease cycle and will not have that very disease. If there is mist, too much mist, it means it will come and cover up the leaves, and they always remain wet. And once they become wet and there is a lot of humidity, it means the pathogen will come and land on it and find a good environment to grow. It will just germinate and enter the plant. But if you have tried to do other agronomic practices, like you have reduced the number of leaves, that is pruning, you make sure you do proper spacing, it means the small sunshine that you will receive will be able to penetrate, dry the leaves up, and the pathogen will not be able to grow.
Some of the diseases affecting tomato growing in Uganda include
the most diseases which are in tomato, we have what we call blight. However, some farmers usually confuse the two types of blight. There are two types. One is called red blight, and another one is called are blight. Farmers, one thing they should know is to differentiate the two types of blight so that they can be able to provide the best remedy for the blight. I'm going to start with the are blight. The are blight, for it attacks mostly the lower leaves of the plant, and the most sign which you can get to know that it is are blight, you will find a spot which is black in the middle of the leaf, and it will be surrounded by a concentric ring. It is a yellow ring which is surrounding the spot. So this is the prominent symptom of typical are blight. Then are blight, for it is you can be able to manage it. Once it has gone into your garden, you can be able to manage it. You put some chemicals and management so that you can still get some harvest. Then we have red blight. For it, red blight is a bit different. For red blight, it enters drastically. Like you come in the evening, you inspect your garden, and come back tomorrow, you find that the whole garden has been infected by red blight. For it, it can attack the whole plant, and it can be able to destroy it within a very short time. The most significant sign and symptom of red blight, you find the tomato fruits being as if they have been cooked. What we can call maybe scorched, as if it has been passed over fire. You find the whole tomato is in that condition. It also has the capacity to attack on the internodes. You find that this region is all turning black and as if it has been boiled. So this is another significant symptom of red blight. Then we have pests in the garden. Most prominent is the shrimps. These shrimps can affect the tomatoes mostly in the lower parts of the plant, and it can be able to suck sap from the plant, and you find the leaf is deformed. You are seeing these ones are called sticker cards. These are put here for monitoring the garden. We put this sticker card without anything, only having this gum. So after some time, you will come and find the pests have been able to get trapped there. This will help you to know the population of the pest you have in the garden. It is not like for killing the pest, but is be able to make you be able to know the pest population in the garden, so that you can be able to start applying the chemical. This disease, this one is called. This one is a sign of are blight, where you find that on the anchoring point, the plant, the tomato developed this kind of lesion, and finally the plant drops off. This is also red blight. So these are some of the symptoms farmers have to understand so that they can be able to manage their plants very well.
If you are planting your tomatoes in the open, then plant out in about mid-June. If planting under a cloche, you can plant out 4 weeks earlier, and if growing in a greenhouse, then you can plant in mid-April.
Now we had the management of these diseases. What I said at first, the better thing is preventing before the disease comes in. Once it comes in, it means we will have issues. Whatever kind of a disease, either red or early blight, once it has entered, it has to cause an economic damage. So the option is to make sure that you make sure you prevent the disease before they enter. How do we control? It is better to make sure that the environment for the diseases is not available. For example, you see these leaves. If we had left all these leaves to grow, you would find that the whole plant is bushy. And once it is bushy, it means it will keep the environment, which will be able to keep the pathogens that will cause the diseases. But when we do pruning, we make sure we cut off these extra branches, which may not be important. As the plant grows, the lower leaves become old, and it's the upper leaves which keep feeding the plant. So what we do, these lower leaves, we try to remove them so that we can prevent the diseases. And then another thing is to make sure the garden is well weeded. There is nothing like a weed. As you can see here, we did mulching. This mulching helps us to suppress all the weeds, and weeds could not grow in this garden. If there are too much weeds, it means that environment still will be able to come and destroy our crops. Once you have done proper good management, you make sure that you follow the chemical application regime. You make sure that you start with the preventive chemicals before applying the curative ones. You make sure you get a schedule. Let's say like 1 week, you make sure that I have to spray at every 1 week interval. They will be able to suppress the diseases, and they will not come in your garden.
Assistant Commissioner at the Directorate of Extension at the Ministry of Agriculture, Consolata Ochayo, says Government of Uganda prioritizes such interventions in agriculture development as priority approaches for poverty eradication and food security. She encouraged farmers to take advantage of the increasing extension workers to adopt such important technologies to agriculture development.
I have to appreciate very much the support we've had from ISST and the Netherlands Embassy for bringing together the farmers here to train them on vegetable production. Today we are in one of the demonstration farms where we have seen tomato production just in a very small scale with a very good variety being demonstrated to us. We have seen in the background the different varieties of vegetables being produced within small areas, but we can see that this variety is being exhibited here has really proven that if you can follow the good agricultural practices and guide it with good varieties within a small area, within our backyards, we can still mint a lot of money to improve on our family income. So the farmers that are here today, I believe they will go back and be able to emulate the example that they have seen here to try and earn a living and earn some income from vegetable production. It sounds like simple, but vegetable production can really improve the livelihood of a person. Vegetable production can help us to achieve many other objectives that probably we wouldn't have gotten if we have not done that. Every day we go to the market to try and buy vegetables here and there, And yet, if we follow some of these simple instructions and demonstrations given to us, we'll not have to go to the markets to buy anything. It will only be a matter of going to our backyards, going to our compounds, and picking fresh, beautiful vegetables that we will have worked on by ourselves, and we see the beauty, the wonders that all this can give us, really. So I want to encourage the farmers who are here and the farmers who are out there and listening to try and pay attention to the difference that we can make. We have extension workers in our different districts and sub-counties. We have not made good use of them. Probably we try to ignore them, or we think they are not good enough. But if we focus a little bit and go to take advice from them, and going to the right seed companies like the Simlo and the others, we should be able to repeat what we are seeing here today, to produce beautiful, beautiful vegetable gardens in the backyards of our homes, and we should be able to eat fresh, good vegetables which do not have so many chemicals like we always talk of, those ones we see in the markets where we are not certain of. But this is the food you are certain of. You know what you are picking, you know what you have planted, you have seen it grow, you've seen the beauty, you can appreciate it with the family, and I think this is just wonderful. I want to thank very much the support that we have received from our partners, ISSD and the Netherlands.
Well, we have been supporting the agriculture sector since 6-7 years, and I expect that for the coming 5, 6, 7 years we will continue doing that. Of course, sometimes you get a new minister and the minister determines new priorities, but for the time being, because food security is such an important issue for many countries here in Africa, it will only become more important if you look at the population growth, if we look at the challenges in climate change. So I expect that we will be in the food sector and the agriculture sector for quite some years.
Many times we think we do not have the markets, but when we do it right, when we follow the procedures, especially the good agricultural practices that we do, our markets are available. The markets are there. There are many people who want to have good things, and probably it's because we have not followed good agricultural practices, and every time, you know, we have these pests, these worms that most of our vegetables have. And each time we get notifications from outside the country where we export, you know, we only need to follow our procedures, produce our crops well. Outside Uganda we have plenty of markets. Within Uganda we have plenty of markets. How organized are we? We need to get ourselves well organized. We need to appreciate what we are doing. We need to tend to our crops from the beginning to the end so that we have the sources clear. Yeah? But these are many times we don't do them well, and then you said, okay, my crops are getting wasted because we've not probably followed it. Another thing we are also trying to do is to add value. When we have tomatoes like this, and we can add value to the tomatoes we have planted so that it lasts longer. Why do we import tomato sauce, for example? If we can produce the tomatoes here, add the value and get our own tomato sauce, why do we have to import them? So we can still do a lot more. Tomatoes can be dried. Tomatoes, we can get tomato sauce. We can have tomato juice. So a lot can still be done from tomatoes, for example, as we add value. Not only on tomatoes, today we have seen cabbages, we have seen other vegetables. We can still add value to all those other vegetables that we produce. Cabbages can be dried. Those vegetables we are seeing there, we can dry them. We can have a longer lifespan for these vegetables we have. I think we have the markets. I don't want to discourage our young people that there is no market. I want to tell them there is market. We only need to get ourselves organized and check around what can we do best, and let us do it very well so that we attract the market in that area. Thank you.
So we think we are in the right position to assist the agriculture in Uganda, and also because we, as I said, farmers in the Netherlands are entrepreneurs, and that's the kind of philosophy that we would also like to bring here in Uganda. At the same time, we have a long history in organized farmers organized in cooperatives. They are really production cooperatives or marketing cooperatives. We have a strong cooperative movement and also a strong farmers association movement. These are all elements which we think could be useful for